Ladies and gentlemen, Sigma 50mm 1.2 is the hero of the day, and I'm super excited to have it in my hand because like that's something that was not possible before in the history of photography. And you may ask, like, what was not possible? Like, to have a choice of 50mm 1.2 lenses on one mount, I don't think it happened before. I mean, like autofocus lenses. So before, basically, if you wanted 50mm 1.2, you were stuck with basically Canon. Most of shooters that wanted the like 1.2 lens would reach for Canon, but there was no choice between like, oh, maybe I want Sigma, maybe I want like Canon original or something else. And here we are. We have two 50mm 1.2 lenses on Sony E-mount. And one more is coming, according to the rumors. Viltrox is going to release one pretty soon, and I'm gonna test it for you on this channel, so be sure to turn on notification button, subscribe, and stay tuned. Anyways, coming back to Sigma, build quality is just awesome. It's metal, it's Sigma art, it's just perfect. Like everything is like smooth, everything goes very, very well. You have lock button to lock the aperture ring, you have autofocus manual focus switch, you have customized button, you have click and declick, so you can have a clicky aperture ring and non-clicky aperture ring. And good news for videographers is that this non-clicky aperture ring is smooth, so basically not only you can just smoothly turn it, but the chip built into this lens doesn't do like this, you know, light jumps, but it's absolutely 100% smooth, so you can have smooth aperture changes while filming and no jumps of light, what you can see now on the sample. Now let's talk about there's one more thing I would forget to mention, that there's a weather sealing here on the back part, and you get a very nice, deep and well made how to say, shader, let's call it shader. You know, my English, my poor English. So that's like lens cover, no lens cover, shade, you know what I mean. Like it's very well made. Anyways, like coming back to optical quality, this lens just shines. So let's talk about sharpness. Sharpness in the middle is just great, and we are talking about greatness since very 1.2. So at 1.2 in the middle, it's sharp, it's contrasty, and it's even more sharp at 1.4, at 1.8. So basically this lens is sharp. In the corners, of course, there's a drop of sharpness at 1.2, but that's something like that only laboratory tests are like designed for, because like in real life at 1.2 you don't care about the corners. it's just so out of focus that it doesn't really matter that much. So if you want sharpness in the corners, of course you would stop it to f.4, 5.6 or something like that, and there you have it. You have a perfectly sharp lens. So let's not talk about that too much. When it comes to distortion, there's a little pincushion distortion that you can see when I took a photo of the chart that shows like the distortion, it's visible. But when you just take a photo of like these beautiful Portuguese tiles in real life, it's really not that visible. By the way, I'm testing this lens, so and it's pre-premiere. No, I mean it's a final version, but I get it before the premiere of the lens. So Adobe Camera Raw or Lightroom didn't have still like the correction profiles, but I'm pretty sure you can correct it very, very easily. Vignetting is another subject to look at, and I thought like, nah, vignetting will be like huge at 1.2, but there's nothing like I was wrong. I was basically wrong. It has nothing to do with reality. Vignetting is very little on this lens. Of course, it is visible and it goes very much to the center, but it's very smooth, very easy to fix, very easy to get rid of. And the other thing is that I mean at 1.2, this vignetting is like insane. It's like really good. Maybe that's because of this like 13 leaf aperture mechanism here. I don't know, but anyways, like vignetting, pretty much no problem. Another thing that I looked at is like macro. I mean, it's not a macro lens because you cannot come too close to the subject, but still you can get some nice close-up shots, specifically at this 1.2, and the creamy bokeh behind, like you can see it, just water and glass, is just amazing, is insane. But in general, like close-up image quality is great. It's very sharp, and I'm talking about sharp since 1.2. So at f1.2, it is already sharp. So very good details. So if you're thinking of some mood boards, shooting some jewelry or art or whatever, you buy this lens for, and you will work in dark environments. So 1.2 is sharp. Now let's talk about another very important subject, which is autofocus. And like the motor used in this lens is practically 100% silent. I just couldn't hear it's magic. Like you cannot hear it, and the transfocation, like changing focus from one subject to another subject, is very smooth. And I know it's mainly dependent on the camera because I use it on the IA7 Mark IV, which is great for autofocus, but this lens just does not complicate camera's life. The motor used is quiet, is responsive, is just very good. And this, by the way, 13 leaf, like what I mean? 13 leaf f-stop mechanism is creating some really dreamy, focal shift look. The look of changing focus points between one point and another is pretty amazing, I gotta say. I mean, but that's, I hope I explained it well. Anyways, let's move to another subject, which is focus breathing. And again, like it starts to be boring. Like good. Where's the problem here? I don't know. I didn't find. I found one, but we talk about it later. So focus breathing is pretty much non-existent. Again, you can see how beautiful this lens, creates these dreamy images. So yeah, there's no focus breathing at all. So if you are looking for something for video work, this clickless aperture ring and beautiful, transfocal thing is just a great choice. Anyways, now let's talk about a very important category here, which is bokeh. And bokeh, like the look of unsharp parts, is beautiful. It's very dreamy. I like it. But there are some things I can now be picky about. So in the corners, you have a little cat eye effect. Not a little, you have a cat eye effect. In the middle, it's clean. It's very, 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 very round. I mean, I haven't seen such a round bokeh in my life, I think. But it's not the best bokeh I've seen, honestly. So there's something to consider here if you like this look or not. This is like a completely new optical construction here, specifically the aperture mechanism here. So the f-stop mechanism here. So you may like it, you may not. I like it. Not my favorite though, but something to keep in mind that you have a cat eye effect in the corners. So if bokeh is your thing, you can look and compare it to other lenses and look which one you like the most, because it's very, very subjective and very, very difficult to measure. But it's clean, it's very round, and I like it. So for me, recommend it. But take a look for yourself if you like it, okay? Now, let's talk about very important category here, which is portrait work. And working with this lens on portraits is amazing. You have samples of my friends, for example. We are drinking green beer. There's no fairy added there, no dishwashing liquid. Just a secret of the house, how they made it. Anyways, long story short, it's a beautiful lens to work in the night, during the day. It's just a great portrait lens, and period. We'll talk about differences between 1.2, 1.4, and 1.8 later in this review, but for now, just keep it in mind that working on portraits and separation of the object, of the person from the background, is just beautiful. Now let's talk about stars. So I just took one photo in the night because I didn't have much time to play with this lens before the premiere, but the stars are beautiful, you can see for yourself, are just amazing. I think that might be the thing with this 13 leaf thing inside, that this star is so perfect. There's no distraction, no visual mess. It is just perfect. So something for night shooters that is a goodie on the top, okay, like cherry on the top. Another subject that you would like to know is how does this lens perform against harsh light. So of course you will use it in this kind of scenarios. So again, like very good. Normally I would expect that this lens will show like super visible vignetting, not vignetting, sorry, flaring, and you would basically see the optical construction inside, but there's nothing like that. Here it performs very good. The drop of contrast is very low, so very good work against harsh light. I could keep talking and talking about this lens, but sample photos will show you the truth. It is a pleasure to work with this lens. It is lighter than G Master, and according to MTFs that I checked on the internet and I got from Sigma themselves, it is slightly sharper than G Master in the corners. There's this 13 leaf thing inside this like aperture mechanism, which is something that is not, you know, like you cannot have it in another lens. So that's definitely an amazing feature here. It's also lighter than G Master, and what's more important, the amount of lenses inside, the amount of optical elements here inside is just insane. You can see on the graph here that I'm showing you right now that this lens is really packed with lenses inside, with optical elements. However, I gotta say that this lens is not big, not heavy, not bulky for what it is. Of course, it's an autofocus perfect 1.2 lens. And I'm really happy to see this kind of lenses hitting the market right now, because now you have more variety. You don't have to break a bank to buy. I mean, it's still an expensive lens, but in comparison to previous like years, those lenses were insanely expensive. Now we start to see some competition there. And basically you can get this beautiful edge of 1.2. And by the way, take a look for yourself on the comparison of f1.2, 1.4 and 1.8. So you can have this little slight edge of 1.2 that will make your photos pop, that will make your photos look different for a reasonable price. So basically I'm super happy to see that lens, and it's highly recommended because like it was very difficult to find flaws. Actually, like, I mean, at least in my test, I said like there's no flaw there, but cat eye effect in the bokeh and a little bit of distortion might be something that we could like say like, okay, there are some flaws there. There's nothing perfect in this world. But this lens is pretty close to perfection in my opinion, so it comes highly recommended. Anyways guys, I hope to see you in the next one. I'm sure I'll be testing Viltrox 50mm 1.2 when it's released, if it's released, because it's rumors so far, but I guess it will be. So leave thumbs up, subscribe, and I see you guys in the next one. Bye.